success starts within, and we need to make sure that your personality, your, the superhero that you have inside, it's something that you own, that you embrace, and that leads the show, whatever you do in business or in life. The second step is going to be, the second thing I'm going to be talking about is the authority magnifier method. This is a way that you can use starting today to create content and stand out from the crowd and position yourself as an authority, especially online and on social media. And I'm going to get into details later, but I didn't want anyone to leave here today feeling, oh, but I cannot implement these things today. You all should have access to the workbook. The workbook is not editable, unfortunately, but you can print it out and you can write and take some notes on it and make sure that you not only learn things today, but you start implementing them as soon as you can and take plenty of notes. And finally, we're going to have the TEDx formula, which are the 5 steps that you need to follow to land your next or your first TEDx talk within the next 6 months. Always. And we're going to have some time at the end for Q&As. I see like the chat box is burning and I love it. Thank you so much. Make sure that you connect with each other. Use this opportunity to connect and find people from other places of the world. So far, we are 160 people on the call and people are still joining. By the way, at the end, we're going to give everyone staying until the end a copy of my book, which is called Organic Client Secrets, which is a roadmap to attracting prospects and signing clients online without Facebook ads or funnels or complicated tech and stuff. So at the end, we'll be giving you that, and also an assessment that you can take, which is fun, and it's going to give you like a really cool score on your TEDx potential. Now, sorry for my voice. Now, this, guys, is for you. If you are a service-based business owner, a coach, a consultant, or an entrepreneur that is looking to boost your authority so you can make more impact and more income. This is for you. Oops, sorry. If you're willing to use your knowledge and your brand story, and this is something that you already have in yourself, we are not going to teach you today something that you need to go out there and find. We're going to teach you how to unpack your value, your brand story, to change, to create breakthroughs in your career or in other people's lives. This is for you if you're looking for ways to leverage what you already know and work smarter instead of harder with your business or in your career. It's going to be for you if you want to get more and better business opportunities or speaking engagements. So you're up for a treat. It's going to be so much fun. And again, if you haven't downloaded the workbook, let me know on my email or in the comments, and we'll make sure that we send you the link so you can download it. Now, on these 90 minutes, I talk pretty fast, even though my voice today is not at its best. But there's gonna be a lot of information. We're gonna share a lot of stuff that it costed us a lot of time and a lot of money to put together. But the only thing we ask you in exchange is please switch off your phone, unless you're watching this from your phone, which I hope you're not. Close all the tabs. Close all the tabs. If you're watching that from the computer, please don't have a lot of tabs open. Leave it for later. Put your full attention here. Take plenty of notes. This is super important. You're going to retain about 75% more of the information that you write down and you review within the next 48 hours and play full out, because you don't want this to be another one of these webinars, workshops where you get there, you sit down, you binge eat on a lot of information, and then you don't do nothing with it. Play full out, connect, share your links on the chat box so we can connect with you on LinkedIn or all social media platforms. Be active, because I promise, if you do nothing with the knowledge that you learn, nothing's ever going to happen. So let's move forward. Now, today we have myself. My name is Carlos Rey, And we have Bobby Umar. Now, Bobby has been a 3 times business owner. He's running 3 businesses, sorry. He's been a 5 times TEDx speaker, and he's refused to be on 3 TEDx speaking gigs, which is even more impressive. He's a digital influencer. He's got more than 650,000 followers and 1 billion impressions over the last 2 years. He's a keynote speaker. He has more than 1,000 talks across 4 continents. He's an expert in thought leadership and personal branding, and he's a virtual trainer and coach. He's going to be sharing a little bit more of who he is and where he comes from later on. And for now, I'm going to be taking care of this part of the presentation. And myself, for the ones that don't know me, I'm an industrial engineer. I'm a recovering industrial engineer because I never worked as an engineer, but I am. I started my first 6-figure business when I was 15. I've been lucky enough to work with many Fortune 500, and I've been working with some of the biggest and most important CEOs that you can imagine. I've been the founder and the CEO of 4 businesses, and I help to build more than $7 million companies across the globe. That's been online and offline. I'm an author and an international speaker, and I'm a certified coach. But I'm an NLP coach and also certified by ICF. So I'm not going to bore you with more details. I think that's enough. You guys can go and check our profiles on LinkedIn or reach out, and we're always open to chat. So why TEDx? Look, we know that there is a certain percentage of people that want to be on a TEDx talk, that they want to be there because it's like a personal milestone. It's something that they want to accomplish. It's something personal, has nothing to do with business, and it's kind of something that is in the bucket list. That would make about 10% of the total of people that want to be on a TEDx stage. Then we have the ones who want to leverage their positioning as an expert or authority in their industry to generate more income, to generate more better deals, or to generate more business. And there is a last group of people who they just have a powerful message, something that they want to get out, an experience that they live, and they just want to be on a TEDx stage to share with the world. So I would love, guys, 1, 2, or 3. Which one are you? Just type it here so we get an idea of what kind of room do we have today. 3, 2, and 3, 2, 2, 1, 2, and 3, 2, 2, 2. Oh, I think the percentages are quite quite accurate then. Anyway, that's great. All right, look, this is gonna be incredibly useful for everyone. It doesn't matter where you are, but because the biggest percentage of people want to be on a TEDx stage because they want to make an impact with the business, they want to leverage their expertise and their authority and position themselves as a thought leader, as someone who is the authority in their industry. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions because you probably thought about that. What is the cost of not being seen as an authority in your industry? And especially after COVID, we have more people than ever online. The competition has increased, and it's very fierce, not only online, but also offline. Now we're facing a recession coming soon, and people and the markets are scared. So it's even more important to be seen as the experts to compete and to thrive in difficult times. Now, what would it mean to be considered this expert, like the top expert in your field? What would it mean for your business, for your influence, for your impact, income? And what about your personal life? Because most of the times we separate personal and business, but I believe that it's not about having a balance, it's about having a life. And this life includes work. And when you separate and you try to find balance, you differentiate between two worlds. And to conciliate them, what I feel is we want to have a life. And within this life, do something that we really love, inspires us, and it makes us money. Thanks for the comments in the chat, guys. I can't read all of them, but I'm doing my best, and I promise I'll be reading all the messages later on when we finish the call, because otherwise we will be here for way too long. But share it, please, because this is being recorded, and I'm gonna make sure that I check it out. And if there's something I can do later on, I'll reach out. Hey, Tim, I think we got like someone who is unmute. Can you please mute everyone in the call? Thank you. All right, so there is a study that Forbes has published recently, and they were talking about in 2021, there was 4.4 million new businesses created only in the United States, which is an amazing number. And remember that this is almost post-COVID, so there's been a lot of there's been a boom in the creation of new businesses, especially online. But then they also said that 96% of all these businesses will fail within the first year in business. And I keep wondering why. And I'm going to share here the why, and you'll understand why does it have to do with TEDx. And this is a business paradigm shift that I want everyone to keep in mind, because when we pursue an outcome, and especially with TEDx, it happens a lot. We want the talk. We want to generate this money, and we pursue that bit here. And what do we do next? What we do next is like, okay, what is going to get me the money? What is going to get me on a TEDx talk? I say, okay, so I need the 5 steps. I need this tactic. I need this strategy. And then there is all these people online helping other people making $10,000 months, 6-figure months. And what we do is we buy into a strategy. And that's about the old paradigm. This is how it works. And what happens here is that most of the times, 96% of the times, this strategy doesn't get us up here. And then we are left like that, saying, what the heck is going on? Why these are the people implemented the same things, and it worked for them, and it doesn't work for me. And the problem with that approach is that we are forgetting about the most important part of the equation of your business, of your career. Like there's nothing wrong with pursuing the fame, the wealth, the millions, whatever it is for you, okay? And there's going to be a strategy to get there. But the problem that we are having is that we forget that the most important part of this process, it is the human, it is you. And you have different values, you have different principles, and a very different why. And what's going to happen is when you get clarity on this down here, then you will generate a completely different vision. You will have a completely different mission and a purpose. And this is different for me, and it's different for like 200 people we have in the call. If we talk to each one of them, each one will have a different story, a different foundation. And then what we expect is that we buy into that strategy, and it's going to work for everyone. It's never going to work for everyone, because we need to find not a strategy, we need to find a personalized Sorry for my writing. It's terrible. It's always been. I can't get any better. It's personalized game plan. Now, when we have this part of the equation, which is the shift that I want you guys to keep in mind, when we have this here, finding their right strategy, it becomes a natural process, because then it is something that it works for you, and we have a solid foundation to grow your business from the ground up. Not seeing the shiny object and buying the strategy without really understanding if it's going to work for us. So this is why it's so important. This is why we call it the iconic CEO at TEDx, because we don't want to give you a story that it's cool, that you go and you vomit it on stage and everyone claps, but then you inside yourself, you're unhappy, you're unfulfilled, because it's a cool story, but it doesn't come from within. So we need to grow the things from the bottom up, and to make sure that this little guy here, it is a happy one, and their success becomes sustainable over time. So knowing that, let's go to the next one. What if the fastest way to making more wasn't about asking, and what else do I need to do? And what I'm not doing now? What if instead the question was, who do I need to become? What if instead of trying to control everything and making things happen, what if instead you could let go and just tune into the kind of human that you need to be, and try to build from a place of purpose, of mission, of energy, of life force, something that is inspiring not only you, but everyone around you, something that is worth sharing in TEDx. What if you could do that instead of trying to buy into the next strategy? So to explain that, I'm gonna share with you the iconic TEDx CEO blueprint, which is the model that we use to get you at TEDx stage. And this is the overall model here. Can you all see my screen? Can you all see like this kind of egg on the screen? Okay, let me know, because I'm not sure what you, yes, we do. Great, thanks, Sagir. Thanks, Viveka. Okay, so let's start for the place number one, okay? So the first place we want to look into is into your beliefs. Who do you think you are? Who do you know you are? Who do you embody? And work on your identity, or the iconic identity, if you will. Since I was a kid, I was pursuing being iconic, being significant, having the attention. We all want this transformation. We all want the success, but success without transformation is not fulfilling. So we all want the identity, okay? Now, what happens is that usually we don't get on a TEDx stage, we don't achieve our goals because we got a lot of limiting beliefs. We got the imposter syndrome that you guys might know. It's very annoying because it always gets on the way and it makes us self-sabotage our success. So we want to destroy this. We want to have an identity that it is your iconic identity. It is your superhero identity. And we want to tap into something that I call impact, which is what you want to do, influence, which is what happens when people listen to you and you're someone who changes the world, one human at a time or a million humans at a time, who cares? This depends on what you want. And ignite. And we want to ignite the life force within you, because you all know how it is like to wake up in the morning when you know that you're going to go on holidays, and you wake up at 2 a.m. in the morning and you can't go back to sleep because you're so excited that you can't wait to keep moving. versus waking up to go to your 9 to 5 or to go to work, that you snooze the alarm as many times as you possibly can because you don't want to do that. So this is not how we want to live our lives. We want to live from a place of ignition. We're going to have this energy. Now, this is the first step, right? Now we have your identity. We know who you are. We know your story, your superpowers. We know all these things. And this is mandatory to be able to create after that your tailored strategy. I could write only strategy, but my strategy or what works for me is not going to work for you. So you want to have something that it really suits you, because otherwise chances that you give up or that your business fail in the first year or your enterprise is very high. So here what we want is have a tailored strategy. Once you become the CEO, maybe you're being on TEDx, to attract your ideal prospects, convert them into high-paying clients, and deliver your services in a way that it keeps you being iconic and to grow. Okay, so here we want to get rid of the stress. We're going to get rid of the overwhelm, not knowing what to do, having too many things, too many choices, and the burnout that we experience when, you know, we get to the point that entrepreneurs or business owners, yes, you're making money, but this is not the life that you wanted to live. And finally, with that, we're going to get to the last step, which is in terms to keep you in the driver's seat and to make you thrive. We're going to optimize all your systems and processes in your business so you can keep being the amazing CEO, iconic CEO, and doing speeches and talks on TEDx if you will. And here we want to declutter. Maybe that's not the right color. Delegate and automate. So basically, we want to keep you in a place that you're growing, that you don't feel like you need to control everything. You can thrive, you can have fun living your life and running your business, and you make the money and the impact that you want to make. So this is the overall, right? Like, it's not about getting you on a TEDx and dropping you there, and then when the TEDx is gone, you might have enjoyed it, but that's all. Now, we want you to live this identity. We want you to live this reality. So going a little bit deeper in how do we get this story and how to create this superhuman, iconic CEO that's going to be on TEDx, the first thing that we do, and looking at this first part of the business or the blueprint, we're gonna get the human. This is you. Anyone here? If you think, yeah, I'm not special, I'm not ready for TEDx, I don't have anything interesting to share, I'm gonna call you out because that's probably rubbish. You are all extraordinary. And the problem is that your story is yours. You don't really appreciate the things that you've lived and your experience for so long. You have your own values and you have your own purpose. And this is where we start creating the hero. And that here is the hero. From here, we go here. And now what we have here is we come up with the hero journey. We come up with your superpowers, and we come up with your life lessons, because all the things here are going to make you unique. There's not two like you, and we don't want to, because you are unique. The problem is that you can't see them. This is why it's so important to have someone who can look the bottle from the inside, from the outside, because when you're inside the bottle, you cannot read the label. And that's super important, because once we got these bits and pieces here, what we want is to tap into the superhero or the iconic CEO, which is this kind of people that get to live the better life, that they get to live, to play with the most beautiful toys, that they get to work from their genius zone. They on a mission to change the world, and they are in alignment with their head, their soul, their heart, with what they do in life. And now it's not about creating a story or make up a story for TEDx. It's about packaging this knowledge, these experiences, and this persona into the story that TEDx is going to go, wow, that is amazing. So if that makes sense, let me now move on to the next one. And now I can't get into doing all the process, but I want to do an exercise with you guys that is called the Iconic Identity Training, Your Life Story. And in the workbook, there is a worksheet, which is this one here, and you can use it to take some notes. There is one that it's empty. I'm going to explain how it works now. But basically what you want to do is, we are not making shit up. We are not creating someone who you are not. We are going to look into you, into your life. And what you want to look into, and this is important, please guys, take notes here because I'm going to go very fast. And I want you to do this exercise, if not today, right now, you can do it when you finish at your own pace, okay? So that's how it works in your life. And I want you to look back into your life. Everyone's here with me? I want to do the exercise quick. You don't need to write it down, just think with me, okay? Look back into your life. And I'm going to be 42 this year. So I looked into 3 events that happened in my life. The first one, I was 16. The second one, I was 20. And the third one, I was 35. All right. And this one was 38. So basically what you want to do here is, you are who you are today because things happen in your life and created the character that you have today, your superpower, your life lesson. So I want you to choose 3 events that when they happen in your life, you changed. You were someone and this thing happened and then you were someone else. It could be a breakthrough. It could be you lost someone. It could be you got married. It could be you had a kid. It could be like a traumatic situation. Anything that changed you. Because what I want you to pay attention for each one of these 3 events that happened previously in your life is to think about, how did you feel? So before the event, I felt, when I was a kid at high school, I felt alone. I felt not accepted. I always thought that I wasn't enough. I wasn't worthy. And I was craving connection, acceptance. I was craving love outside of my house. I was craving love with kids, with girls. I wasn't very successful in that department. I wanted to feel worthy. I wanted significance. I was craving all this stuff. So what did I do? I rebelled against the world. And I became the bad student. I was a really good student, but I stopped doing that because I wanted the attention. I wanted to be the rebel. I wanted to be like the bad boys. I wanted to have all these things. So I started doing these things, turned into a bully. I started doing drugs. And I went wild for no reason. They would call me a rebel without a cause. And I did all these things because I was craving that. So now I could develop a new belief system. And this belief system, I learned things. I understand that now I'm a badass. I'm a cool guy. I'm a rebel. I was bending the law. I developed all these beliefs, and these things have created the person that I am today. This led me to do things differently, to have different experiences, to learn new skills. So this is what you need to work on. So in my case, and again, I'm going very fast, but you want to spend some time here, brainstorm it, don't rush into that, and get someone who can listen to your story and can give it back to you in a way that it's powerful, because you will not appreciate the things that you know. Now, the next place for me was when I was I was around 20, I had a car crash, I was 9 days in a coma. I was living the rock star lifestyle, and I hit a wall. But it also made me go like full time doing all the things that I was doing. Like I was becoming even worse. So I was craving some stuff. That led me to did some other stuff, and I developed a new set of skills. So if you look at your life in the past, find 3, no more than 4, and do that, and you will see that your skills today are the ones that they are because of the things that you've experienced that led you to where you are today. Is everyone cool with that? Can you type in the chat box a Y for yes, if you're cool with it? Cool, cool, cool. Awesome. Beautiful, beautiful. Awesome. So again, another moment of my life, it would be when I built my own coaching business. And then when I became burnout, and I was like, this is not what I want to do. So again, do this exercise, please. Spend your time here doing that, because from here, and again, these are some blind spots that you can use. From here, I want you to go into that page, and then you'll brainstorm your superpowers. Like, what are the things that make you unique? And you want to write them down here, like put as many as you can. And again, this is not an easy exercise. It's not going to come up very easily, but I promise you spend some time. You're gonna understand what things you have that not many people have. And from here, you want to go to here. And these are the 5 iconic CEO identifiers that you're going to live by. So I value things like honesty, integrity, faith, and this is the list that you want to create. You want to have 5. Put 5 things here. And look, one of the things that I do is I live by these things. And when I do an action, when I judge myself, when I assess something that I have to do or that I did, say, am I being honest with myself? Am I being a person of integrity? Am I having faith that things are going to work out? Am I being scared, fearful because I'm not faithful? So you want to have your 5 here, okay? You want to have your 5. And look, I have in my phone, I have reminders that remind me every day, because you know what happens. You go along your day and life gets on the way, and you get frustrated, and you get angry, and your spouse tells you something, and the kids are being annoying. And then you forget that you are someone faithful, someone who is honest. Maybe you're telling things, just not to hurt someone, but you're not being honest. So it's very easy to get out of track. You need to work on keeping yourself into being the best possible human that you can be. So this is how we start working with your iconic CEO identity, and it comes from your life story. This is the best thing, is that you don't need to make this shit up. You just need to look back and extract your value. Now, I know I'm running a little bit behind. I'm gonna go over this one very fast. Again, if you need help with that, it's going to be great that you have someone that can give you some feedback. What does integrity mean for you? Is asking Fiona. What is the definition? That's a great question to ask. And the thing is that you need to answer these questions, because the only person that we are taking into account to that is you. So what does it mean to you? Are you able and willing to live by this value? Because if the answer is yes, you need to commit, and you need to make sure that you stay in track. Sorry guys, we're gonna have some time for Q&A. Yeah. I'm just gonna keep going for now. Now sorry, Tim, can you mute everyone on the call, please? So The next thing that I want to share this before Bobby gets on stage is the authority magnifier content method, right? When I started my business, I didn't have a lot of authority. I didn't have a lot of I wasn't the expert in my field. So you need to start from somewhere. Now, the online world, it allows you to put up so much information out there. There's sometimes we get confused. So we want to put out there content without lying, that it helps us raise our authority and drive sales with your business, even if you're just getting started. And that doesn't mean that you need to post like a ninja. That doesn't mean that you need to be salesy or spend all day online. And I'm going to explain that very fast and as clear as I can. And please, if you have any questions, write them down. And at the end of the call, we're going to have like 15 minutes for Q&A. Tammy is saying value first. Yes, value. What problem are you solving? Absolutely. Value is super important. And this is more about what content or how we deliver this value in a way that we get people through the know, like, and trust, and they want to buy. You don't need to sell. Now, this content is the content that I've been creating for the last 5 years. It generated only from LinkedIn and organic. We don't use any kind of Facebook advertisement. From January to April, that generated almost $130,000 in cash collected. Sales would be about 3 times more. And this is the same content strategy that generated about $500,000 in our first year in business, without emails, without spammy messages, no hard closing. By the way, now that I say emails, I see that some have marked the emails that we've been sending to remind you about the call as a spam. We're not going to be sending a lot of emails after that. I just wanted to make sure that you guys have the information to make it to the call. Now, the authority magnifier content method works like that. What we create, what would we create, how we create it, and when we create it, or when we post it. So basically, let me choose a fancy color. We want to create strategic content. This is not about dropping 5 posts a day. It's not about quantity, but quality. And we create 3 different kinds of content that we're going to go in depth in a minute. But basically what you want is to get people to go through the know, like, and trust, because you want them to buy. You don't want to sell. So we all love shopping around, but we all hate being sold on things. So we want to create content that helps us connect with this audience and get them to the know, like, and trust. Now, we're going to look at how in a second and when. Distribution means that even if you create content every day, but that's all you do, chances that you're not going to get any further or anything out of this content are very high. What you want is your content, your piece of content here. You want a lot of people to see it. And again, sorry for my drawings, but basically what you want is make sure that your audience or your target audience is seeing your content. And how we do that, we're going to get in a second, and leverage this content. Well, if you're just getting started online, please use only one platform. Stop trying to post content everywhere. I promise it's going to be worth it. Focus on one platform, master one platform, engage and connect with your audience in this one platform. And when you master it, you move on to the next one. Okay. But when you are over 6 figures or even 7 figures, you want to increase your streams of income or leads. And here you can use the same content that you've created here to repurpose into Facebook, into Instagram, into Twitter, and in your email. So you don't need to create a lot of content. What you want is to create content once and then you use it for everywhere. Okay. Now, strategic content. What does it mean? it means that we're going to create very strategic pieces of content that are going to help people get to know you, like you, and trust you. And this kind of content we're going to create, it's in the next slide. Whoops, second. Well, I'll go to the later because okay. We're going to create bonding content. And bonding content is the content that is going to help people feel connected to you at an emotional level. We're going to create proving content. I think that's just one O. Sorry. Proving content, that means you want people to understand what they can get from your services. And that means social proof. Social proof is one of the most powerful forces of influence that you can use. And finally, we're going to create authority and expert content. When 3 times a week, guys, haven't posted more than 3 times a week ever. Whoa, okay, I'm lying. Like maybe in 2 or 3 occasions for the last 5 years, I might be posting more than 3 times a week. But usually what I would do is I would post on Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And I'll explain in a second why these days, and then you can find your cadence that works for you. I've got clients that they were posting like 5 times a day when I started working with them. And they stopped it. And they started posting using this cadence. And you will see the results in a minute. Yes, you boost your post, but what you want to do is you want to engage with other people, so other people engage with you, which is what happens here, distribution. You want to distribute your content. That means that you want to put in engagement. If you can engage with your audience before posting, or even at any time, when the platforms work like that, the platforms are machines created to keep people on the platform, so the advertisers can make money of them. So what they want is interaction. If the algorithm is seeing that you're engaging with my content, what the algorithm thinks, that you'll be interested in seeing what I do because you're actually interested in my content. So when I post something, you're gonna see it. Now, the same way, if I engage with your content, the algorithm is going to believe that you might be interested in my stuff. So that's how the algorithm is going to put my post in front of your face when you log in. So engagement. And you can do engagement with your network. I would say focus on target audience, because these people are the people that are going to see your post when you post. Always engaged. Yeah, the more the better. And that's been told to me by people working on LinkedIn. If you could engage with 1,000 people every day, you would get like 10 times more engagement. Like, well, you need to find it to make something that's sustainable. So when? Well, if you don't have more time, I would say, okay, do it 15, 20 minutes before posting. If you have more time, maybe you're sitting at the supermarket, maybe you're waiting to pay, maybe you're at the restaurant waiting to get served. Well, engage a little bit more, because the more you put in, the more you're going to get out. The more people are going to see you, the more people are going to get access to your content. And then your content is good. Then they feel inclined to engage because of the law of reciprocity, which is the most basic. And if on top of that, your content is good, they're gonna feel inclined to read more and to engage genuinely with you. And then leverage. Look, some people think that they need to create content for every single platform, when I create a post, from this post or video, I create the post on Facebook, on Instagram, I don't post on Twitter, and on LinkedIn. And I create newsletters. And I create a topic for the newsletter. Maybe if it's a newsletter, what I will do is I'll extend a little bit more on what I did. So you just put it in different shapes or forms. If posting on YouTube, then post it on YouTube. But you don't need to create extra content all the time. And when? Same, 3 times a week. I mean, if you're scaling your business, you have the capacity, you have a team, you can increase that. But honestly, like myself, my clients, and some of my coaches making 6, 7, and 8 figures, this is like religiously the cadence. And now, getting a little bit deeper into what kind of content, as we said before, there's the bonding content, which is going to help you create relationships at an emotional level with your audience, the proving content, and the authority content. So here, again, this is know, like, and trust. And it's super important. If people will not work with you if they don't know you, they don't like you, they don't trust you. We all know that. This is basic, right? Now, the next thing that they're going to look into is like, how do I know that what you do is going to work with me? So they're going to look for social proof. And this is the most powerful principle of influence that you can use. When you go to buy on Amazon, what do you look for? Reviews. If everyone's liking this stuff, if there is 1,000 reviews, that means that it's good. That means it's going to work for me as well. And authority content. Authority content is anything that can help people understand that you're someone of authority. It could be problem solving. If you are giving people the solution to one of their problems for free on your content, they're like, wow, okay. They'll understand that you work with them, these kind of people, their niche, and that you have the authority and the knowledge and the expertise to help them solve that problem. If you're hanging around with people who are making 7 or 8 figures and you're helping other people make 7 or 8 figures, well, they'll see you as someone of authority because they associate you with people of authority. You get the point. Examples here, like if you look on my post on Sunday, you will usually see family post with my little man, with my wife, things that are actually going to help people see me as someone from their tribe and someone who's like them. I would take photos with my wife or with my family, with my sisters, like doing something fun. Especially, I do that on Sunday. Why on Sunday? Because on Sunday, people are not thinking about work. We're thinking about spending the good time with the family or spending our free time doing something fun. So you want to give them the information when it's the best time for them to consume it. Proving content is social proof. This is case studies from clients. Case study from clients, results from your own or clients. And again, once a week, I would go for Thursday in this case. Why? Well, you can choose the day that is more suitable for you, but when I started doing this business, my target audience was people who were looking at leaving corporate and start their own business. And Thursday was a really good time emotionally for them to understand that they could do something better. Why? Because they were already sick of working all the week. They were looking forward to the weekend, but they would still be receptive. Now, this is a psychology work that you want to do, understand the psychology of your audience to understand where you want to give them the content. And finally, problem solving. Well, I don't know, I'm helping coaches find their niche. Hey, if you're looking for your niche, here's how you do it. If I'm helping people with anxiety, say, hey, if you're suffering with anxiety, here's how you do it. And you give step-by-step advice, actionable steps, something that they can implement and they can start implementing and they're getting the results. And wow, that's amazing. Samantha has helped me doing that on a post. This is great. You gain a follower. You gain someone who's going to love you because you've solved him, you've helped him solve a problem, and it's going to work really well. You're building relationships at scale with your content. And then finally, you can choose between weeks, like whatever it works for you and for your audience. But in my case, we say Tuesday, you could alternate it on Monday. Again, this is, you need to find your cadence depending on who is your target audience and how they consume the content online. So again, this is a formula that's generated like well over $3 million in sales. And I promise, if you use it, you're going to see the difference. And this is the example of one of my clients. And when she started using this strategy, of course, like making in 3 months her entire paycheck in a year, or $150,000 in extra sales in 12 months is good. But the part that I like the most is the fun part is that I'm working way less. Sometimes I don't know what to do with the extra time I have. And for someone who has kids and a family and cares about something else apart from making money, that's super important. And finally, and with that, I will leave it to Bobby. This is another client of mine, and she was in the same place. She was, like doing everything, getting very little results, kicking her tires, doing between $5,000 and $6,000 a month, doing all the things without tapping into her real power. And when we implemented all these steps, he went from going from $5,000 to $6,000 a month, or $4,000 or $5,000, to making $200,000 a month. And she went to the $400,000 a month very quickly as well. So anyway, when you tap into your identity and you own who you are and you understand how to do something that it comes from within, not only because you want the TEDx talk, not only because you want the 6 figures or the 7 figures, but because you want to do something that inspires people, inspires you, things happen. So that's all from my side for now. I'll be back later, but I wanted to leave it here with Super Bobby. Bobby is one of these amazing connections that I met when I started my LinkedIn journey. And one of the people I'm more grateful that I met is one of the most inspiring entrepreneurs that I ever connected with. And again, it's been thanks to this content creation and genuinely wanting to learn from one another, we connected, and now here we are. Now let me see if I can stop my screen. Oh, I'm so shiny. So anyway, Bobby, my man, I'll let you take over this now, and can't wait to hear all about what you have to say.
Oh, yeah. Can you guys hear me? Give me a yes in the chat box. Give me a thumbs up, whatever you got. I want to make sure people hear me. Okay, I see you. I see people. That's fun. Okay, good. So I'm going to share a lot of information today. I'm really happy to see you guys. So let's get into the iconic TEDx formula and how the 5 steps on the TEDx stage. And, again, we're talking about how to land your first TEDx talk. I've done 5 TEDx talks. I've actually been accepted to 8 of them. I rejected 3, which I'm going to talk about why reject. I'm also wearing my TEDx shirt. That was my 4th TEDx talk. It was actually one of my favorite ones. I'll talk about why in a second. And it's really important for you to understand that TEDx is all about influencing, and leadership is about influence. And if you can influence people, you can change yourself and you can change lives. And so how are we going to use the knowledge today? Well, I believe everyone has a story. I believe everyone has struggles. I believe everyone needs help. And so I want to help you, and I want to help everyone else along the way get to that next level. And again, it's not about just getting knowledge. We're going to give you a ton of knowledge, but are you going to start? Are you going to actually do? Are you going to act? Because I want you to act. Ask yourself, if you weren't afraid, what would I do? And then go do it. And that first one, just, coming to this event is great, but now taking those steps. My promise to you, and our promise, me and Carlos, is to give you the insight, strategy, and tactics to help you land and monetize your first TEDx talk and share your story and message with the world. That's a big piece. And I want to share one thing about Carlos, which is I've known Carlos for a long time too. He's a great guy, really caring, very passionate about what he does. And I actually hired him to coach me. I've coached hundreds of people over the years, but I hired him to help me with coaching as well. So it's good to have someone to work together with us, someone to work on your mindset, to someone to have to share accountability. He's been really amazing. So I'm so glad to have that partnership with him. Okay. So, I talk about a thought leadership brand model. So if you want to build a thought leadership brand for yourself, you level up by, again, having a base of mindset and confidence. You focus on your digital presence with content strategy, storytelling, speaking in person. You build meaningful relationships, and you build that clear personal brand that also feeds into your mindset and confidence. And TEDx is part of that. TEDx is part of the whole content strategy, storytelling, speaking thing, which also builds relationships, which also keeps your brand, builds your brand up, and also works on your mindset confidence. And if you have the right strategies, the right community, the right knowledge, and the right coaching, that's how you elevate your thought leadership brand. That's what I do for people now. I help them get clarity in their personal brand, and I help them elevate their thought leadership brand through this model. And so what we're going to cover today is I'm going to talk about why TEDx matters, what your story is, where to start, the culture of TED and TEDx, how to make them want you, as well as a little bit of a bonus tip that you may not realize. And then, of course, we'll have Q&A at the end, and Carlos and I will share some time with you at the very end. So what are the benefits? Well, again, the number one benefit, of course, is your position as an authority and expert in your field. We talked about that earlier. 75% of people, that's what they want. So that's a huge benefit. There's other benefits too, right? If you inspire a global audience and you change their worldview and they take action, you can increase your impact and you can increase your income. You're getting higher visibility and instant credibility with the TEDx brand. And again, it's the fastest way to be seen as an expert. I mean, writing a book actually takes longer than it does. And I wrote a book. I've written 3 books, and I got to tell you, that took forever. But getting a TEDx talk was a really great way for me to be branded as an expert. And one of the things with being a TEDx speaker, it allows you to kind of ideal clients because now they know who you are, what you talk about, and so that the people will come to you. And you grow a community of engaged followers. So all of this leads to more website traffic, more leads, more opportunities, more speaking engaged clients, and more closed deals. That's what it's about. And I can tell you that getting my first TEDx talk was the beginning of how I got my speaking career, my coaching career to that next level. Now, if you look at the people who've spoken at TEDx, I mean, these are awesome people. I mean, there's Tony Robbins, there's Brene Brown, there's Susan Cain, talks about introverts, Bill Gates. These are all awesome people. And what's amazing about that is that you are now branded with these people, right? Branding by Alumni Association, the network is very attractive to people. So another reason why TEDx is important is because it's such a global thing, right? 3,000 TEDx yearly, 6 billion views, 172,000 TEDx talks on the YouTube channel. And the key is that there's 3,800 TEDx talks featured on TED.com. And that's really, really important. Very important because people like Brene Brown and Simon Sinek, before their TEDx talk, if you look at Simon Sinek's first TEDx talk, it was like a really terrible video. He used like a flip chart, and it wasn't a good video, but it got on the TED.com site, and his career and his business took off like crazy. And so that's really important too. You have the chance to get on the TED.com site as a featured talk. And I'm a big believer that the TEDx talk is also as strong as a book or a program to get leads, speaker gigs, and business opportunities. When you show up on media and show up on a television show to talk about your expertise, when you get hired as a speaker, that I have been doing for the last 17 years, people say, I was promoting my book, which is my book in the middle about how to network anytime with anyone. But a program or a TEDx talk is just as good as to do that for you. And so that's why a TEDx talk, but it's a great video. It showcases you. People see you live in person, which I think has far more clout than just the book. My first TEDx talk was about the power of the 5 C's of connection, 5 C's of connection. But this one, my second talk was about the power of power of questions, where I mentioned 3 key talks or 3 key questions: why not, what if, and how can I? And these 3 questions can change the world. My third TEDx talk was actually, I hosted it. I did a talk, but I talked about leadership, global and local. I also hosted it, which was really interesting, but it's a huge exposure with a lot of work to host a TEDx talk. If you want to do that, great, but it's a lot of work. And then my fourth one was TEDx UTSC, where I talked about how leaders can, how fly as a leader, and in leadership, learning to fly. And this one was targeted at university students. And then finally, the fourth one came about when I saw that there was a topic, a theme called Power of Connection. I was like, hey, that's my hashtag. I use Power of Connection. My tweet chat, my Twitter space on Twitter is called Power of Connection. I should apply for this thing. And so I did, and I got it within a day because I sent them a video. We love this, please come. And so I talked about how to change a person's life in 20 seconds. And I talked about 20-second hugs. So what are your biggest challenges landing your first TEDx talk? I'd love to hear this very quickly. Put in the chat box. What are your biggest challenges to landing your first TEDx talk? I want to know. Just type away. Do it. What do you got? Where to start? Yeah, very common thing. Where to start? The topic. Yeah, who to contact. Who to talk. Okay, what to talk about? Who to reach out to? How? Yeah, that's a very common thing. I wish I had the data that Carl said. 75% of people say how. How do I do this? Okay, great. We're going to talk a bit about that today. Good stuff. Thanks, guys. Now, the truth is, you have a TEDx talk inside you. Okay, you don't have to be Simon Sinek or Brandon Brown to do a TEDx talk. Everyone has a story in them, and that's really, really important to understand. So you want to know how I got them? Okay, let's get right into this. So I'm going to start by saying, what do people do wrong? Okay, first off, a lot of people who come to me, oh, Bobby, I had this TEDx idea. First off, their idea, it's a bad idea. It's not unique. Is it something people really want to hear? Will the TEDx organizers like it? Right? Because if the organizers don't like it, they're not going to want you to come in. Another bad idea is too holistic. So TEDx prefers ideas based on science. So they frown upon the more holistic ideas out there. I'm sorry to say that, but that's just true. So if you have something that's based on some sort of holistic thing, you got to have science to back it up. Otherwise, they're going to reject you right away. Okay. Based on evidence. If you don't have evidence, a personal story. So it could be like, I climbed Mount Everest. Here's what I learned. I went to space. Here's what I learned. I almost died. Here's what I learned. That's okay too. The wrong audience. So if your idea doesn't fit the TEDx culture or isn't in line with the theme, then they won't really take notice. Remember, the number one rule of a good speaker, I've been training speakers for 17 years, know your audience. So you have to know what the TEDx audience you're applying for is like, because they're all different, right? The one I did for the students was for students. There's other ones that are directed for youth, for seniors, for entrepreneurs, so or the local community. Now, how I got 5 TEDx talks is 4 things: brand and thought leadership, building the leaders and coaching, strategic networking, and creating good ideas. Let's start with the first one, branded thought leadership. What do these leaders stand for in a few words? So if you look at Brandon Brown, you'll think vulnerability, shame, authenticity. When you think of Gary Vaynerchuk, you think of hustle, entrepreneurship. When you name Malala Yousafzai, you think, okay, she's education, inspiring young girls, right? So that's what these people stand for. So if you can type in the chat box, name one of these people and type a few words in terms of what they stand for. What do they mean to you? I want to see what you guys come up with. These are all thought leaders in their own way, Innovation, Steve Jobs, innovation, good. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Steve Jobs, creativity, Gary Vee, the hustle, entrepreneurship, right, exactly. These are all people who are thought leaders. But you can be a thought leader too. Now, what exactly is thought leadership? Well, there's 3 main criteria of steps. These people have all learned to network authentically, build deep relationships, have tons of connections. So Oprah has tons of broad connections and followers, but she also has deep personal relationships, like with her friend Gail. They innovate new ideas and generate awesome ideas and content. So Beyonce's writing songs, Warren Buffett's doing financial investment reports, Gary Vee's doing videos. And they're mastering their communication skills, such as public speaking, writing, active listening, and storytelling. So Gary Vee does videos, Oprah does books. They're constantly creating content out there. And anyone could do all 3. Like, the more you develop all 3 of these things, the more achievement and impact you're going to have. So for example, if you're automatically a good networker, then work on the other 2 and 3. If you're already a good communicator, then work on the other 2. The more you work on these 3, the greater your thought leadership brand will build. And why is this important? I bring this up because it's so important as a thought leader, as a TEDx iconic CEO. When you're seen as the expert with a solid reputation, you have a huge network, and you own the conversation, then people come to you because you are the authority. People remember who you are. They know your name. They think about you. And you have more confidence to go after opportunities. And ultimately, building a thought leadership brand, customers, connections, clients, colleagues will follow you and want to do business with you. Look at Marie Forleo. Does anyone know what she did before she became a thought leadership brand? Anyone know? The truth is, a lot of people don't know, because actually it doesn't matter. She built a thought leader brand around her life, her business, her podcast, her video series, her business school, and now she's a household name, and she's done incredibly well for herself. There you go, hip hop dancer and teacher. Good. A lot of people don't know that, but she built it up so well. And thought leadership gives authority. And so TEDx is part of that. Now, a little bit about myself, I'm a social media influencer, 650,000 followers, a billion impressions. It's been part of my brand. I've built it across multiple platforms. Has that thought leadership brand helped me? Yes, because I was named the top 100 leadership speaker alongside Richard Branson, Brandon Brown, John C. Maxwell. I got 5 TEDx talks from that, and I was named the top 25 LinkedIn influential voice. So again, that thought leadership piece has helped me. Let's talk about the other 3 things. So building new leadership coaching. What's really interesting is that a lot of people who run TEDx events are young. Now, I'm an older guy, but the truth is a lot of them are young. So if you actually get into building new leaders and coaching young people, some of them, so my first TEDx talk, I basically inspired this young guy, and then he worked for me as an intern for my company. And then a couple of years later, he said, Bobby, you have to come speak at my event. It's called TEDx. I'm like, what's TEDx? I don't know. And then I looked, I was like, holy cow, everyone's spoken to this thing. I gotta be there, man. And so I went, and my first TEDx talk was because I coached him and I worked with him. And so if you build new leaders and have a network of young people and they love you, they will actually bring you into that stuff. So building new leaders and coaching goes a long way to getting a TEDx talk. Of course, strategic or targeted networking, right? Find the people that you want to meet me, right? It's not just I want to meet you, I want you to meet me. So when you target people who are involved with TEDx, it goes a long way to building that profile, that awareness, or even helping them out before you speak next year or this year. And of course, curating a good idea. I saw some questions in the chat box, but what does that even mean? I mean, again, ideas are more important than your speaking ability. Let me say that again. Ideas are more important than your speaking ability. What you really want to do is come up with the right idea, the topic, the title, the pitch, which I'll help you with, versus trying to make sure you do a good job speaking. As soon as you land it, yeah, we'll work on your speaking. We'll make sure it's amazing. They'll even help you too. But that idea is what you want to focus on, okay? And try to line with the theme. If the theme's power of connection, I talk about hugs. If the theme's about diversity, then talk about diversity. Something new, fresh, and different, right? So don't just say, I want to talk about the importance of sales. I want to talk about the importance of love. Like, that's not good enough. It's got to be something more specific. Now, I mentioned sales. There was a TEDx talk called The Ninjutsu of Sales. And what he did was, he said, how does sales work when you take the ninja philosophy? That was a unique slant on sales that got people's attention. It's got to be simple, okay? So it can't be like that. Here's my 17-step process for, X, Y, Z. Simple idea. Some of the best TED Talks are 3 minutes long. Have you guys ever seen the paper towel idea? Have you seen that one? He basically said, 3 minutes long. He just said, when you wash your hands, just go wah, 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 wah 3 times, and all the liquid that falls away, you'll save on this much paper towel, which leads to billions of paper towels saved. Fantastic idea. Simple. And again, what they really care about is story and conversation, right? Are you sharing a story? Are you starting a conversation that people will talk about in the breaks? That's an important piece. So let me see if does anyone have an idea? What is your idea right now? What is your TEDx topic idea? Put in the chat box right now. I'll give you, I want to see what you have. Every business needs more food service. Okay. True human connection. Okay, that's pretty vague, Tammy. Putting sexy into unsexy. That's diversity and adoption. That's interesting. Okay, digital footprint component. Again, too broad. Functional medicine, the future of healthcare. Okay, I got to explain a little more. Development is a dojo. Okay. Improve listening to active listening. Okay, that's still too broad. It's going to be more specific. Own your inner bitch. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, these are some good. Okay, so one of the things I'm seeing is a pattern for you. Just to be clear, again, this comes from a place of love. I care about you guys. Let me give you some. Are you okay with some tough love? A lot of these are too broad. Okay, they're too broad. It's got to be very specific. So try to be more specific. Or the other thing I'll give you a tip on is you give me the title, but what's the story behind it, right? So when we get their attention, right? Okay. But thanks for sharing that. That's good. Now, the hardest part for actually getting a TED Talk is knowing your full story. So when I work with a client, she had all these ideas for a TEDx talk, but they weren't that great. And I said, look, tell me your life story. Give me your whole life story in bullets. And she gave me this 3-page document. And when we did that, we went through it. I was able to pick out 5 TEDx talks that she had never even thought about. Like, whoa, right? But by knowing your full story, you can start to extract the really good pieces of your TEDx talk topics that can be there. And then you identify the right topics, the ones that align with the theme, that make sense, that are unique, that will get their attention. That's kind of where my expertise comes in to help you identify the right topics. Crafting that tantalizing title, because when you apply for TEDx talk, they're going to want to see what that title is. What are you going to be talking about? And then how do you monetize that TEDx talk? How do we take that and leverage it for a speaking career, for coaching, for clients, for business, for your career? Monetizing that TEDx talk. These are the hardest things that we need to work on to help you get to that next level. So you're ready. Now what? Okay, here's a step-by-step process of where to start. Okay, so we'll start with first thing, which is really find TEDx events near you, because unless you want to travel, you want to find ones that are within your 50 to 100 mile zone, Europe or Australia or South America, North America, wherever they are. Find TEDx, and you can find these easily on the TED.com website, or you can just Google search TEDx events in your area. But the TED.com website has these events. Now you got to determine your big new ideas. Now I recommend trying to come up with these three to five really good ideas from your life story. And again, another tip, don't make your TEDx idea your life story. It's too much. It's got to be a portion of your life story, something from your life story, an event, an incident, a small moment, right? So come up with your big ideas. What are those ideas? That's the first thing, and then have them vetted by us. Then start connecting with organizers, talk to people. Tell them your ideas. Hey, here's what I have in mind. Get some feedback on what you're doing. And that's exactly what I did with Trishala here. And then, of course, you have to think about which event you want to target, because you're not going to target all of them, right? Some criteria, because you remember I said I've been accepted for 8 TEDx talks. I've rejected 3. Why did I reject them? Well, how organized are they? That's the first criteria. When I did TEDx UTSC, they brought me in 9 months in advance. They brought me in a speaker coach, even though I didn't need one, but they're very organized. I love the way they were operated. My second TEDx talk, they weren't very organized. They told me 2 months before. And when I went there, I got no video. It was poorly run. And now I have no, except for photos I took, I have no evidence that I did that TEDx talk, which sucks, because you want to get the video. Okay, so make sure you have a really good TEDx event that's organized. The other thing to consider too is the speaker profiles. Who is speaking? Some events run by university or colleges, everyone's a student or a teacher or a professor. Do you want to be part of that group if you're not one of those things? Maybe. Do you want to be the star of the show and have other people that aren't as big thought leaders as you? Or do you want to be among stars? Each of them have their pros and cons. So you can be the star among stars, or you can just be the star above everybody else, and that's fine too. And again, alignment of idea, opportunity, and theme. I mean, if you have a theme or opportunity or that where you have to travel, maybe you want to do it. This is one of my friends that I coached, and she was like, I know some people in Zurich because I lived there for a year, and they're doing an event and it aligns with who I am. Should I do a TEDx talk in Zurich, even though I live in Canada? I said, yeah, man, go for it. Are you willing to go? She said, yeah, I'll see my friends. And so she went and did her first TEDx talk at TEDx Zurich. So how organized are they? What are the speaker profiles? The alignment of idea, opportunity, and theme. Size of the event. Have they grown? Initially, it goes from 100 to 300 to 900. Do they have a social media presence? One of the ones that I rejected, they had 0 social media presence, no website, an old Facebook page. I was like, I'm not doing this. Who's our target audience? Is the one that you want to get in front of. And then you got to put together a nomination plan. So you can either nominate yourself or create a nomination team, or both. You can find a nomination buddy. Maybe you can just kind of nominate each other. You can offer to come in to speak at schools that run TEDx events to network and build relationships. Again, leverage relationships. Leverage your social media, thought leadership brand. Those things will actually get you noticed. And one big thing I think is really important is create a 3 to 5 minute video. When I got my 5th TEDx talk, I went in the office right over there and I did a 4-minute video and I sent it to them. They called me the next day, we want you. Video, because right away I'm showing them what a great storyteller I am. I show my personality and they really want to work with me. So working on a 3 to 5 minute video will go a long way. Because the application process is also quite complicated. I mean, they have a lot of questions. So you want to make sure can you answer all these questions? Why does idea matter? What's the big idea? Why is it worth spreading? What does their big idea relate to the theme? You have to be able to answer these questions really, really well. And what do the judges want? So the people who are judging your application, not these guys from the Muppet Show, but the people from TED, what do they want? Well, they want to know, they don't want speakers. They want presenters or teachers of an idea, right? That's what they care about. Can you present the idea? They want your idea to align with the theme, be unique, and have a unique slant. They want high-profile brand thought leaders. So if you say, "Hey, I'm gonna promote you guys. I'm gonna be, responsive and supportive," they're gonna love that. When I pitched my thought leadership brand, I said, "Here's what I'm gonna do for you," and promote your. They love that. Can you clearly convey an idea? Can you walk and talk? They like unique personalities. So if you have a video reel of yourself speaking, that's important because they'll say, "Oh, this person." If you have a talk, be like, "And so I'm the next 30%." Like if you're talking, oh my God, like you're gonna lose them. If you have video of yourself that is like that, please have it removed, scrub, scrape it, get rid of it. We want people to know how awesome you are. And they prefer others to nominate you. Okay? So how do I make them want me? So this is kind of the formula I have in the 5-step process, right? So number one, know the culture of TED and TEDx, right? So the culture of TED and TEDx is, you have to understand how it works, right? TED is not a paid talk, it's a free talk. So the way it works is they invite you to do a talk, giving the best idea of your life, sharing your personal story and background. So if it's not personal, it's not worth doing. You dive deeper in the topic. You use minimal slides. This one actually was hard for me because I'm a huge PowerPoint slide guy. I love my slides. And they said, minimal slides. Like, what? Are you kidding me? And then they said, do it in 18 minutes or less. I was like, wow, okay, that's tough. I'll tell you a little story, which is kind of funny. On the table here, this is my first TEDx talk. There is a little teddy bear. And my first TEDx talk, I was so nervous. And normally when I speak, I actually prepare my slides and I don't rehearse much because I know exactly what I'm going to do. I've been doing this for so long, I know what I'm doing. Don't need to rehearse. And I rehearsed my TEDx talk 30 times that day and the day before, like 30 times. And every time something went wrong, and back and forth, I was pacing, I was nervous. I found a teddy bear. I said, "Can I grab this?" They said, "Sure." I took it. I started hugging it and walking back and forth behind the scenes. They called my name out. I walked on stage. I took the teddy bear, gave it a hug, put it on the table, and then I started. And people think I planned that, but the teddy bear was just at the side. I just found it, and I picked it up because I was so nervous. And there was this clock in front of you that's just, the gigantic clock. I had 14 minutes of my talk, and it wasn't intimidating, but the number one thing I do first is get the talk. Once you have the talk, I can coach you on how to put together a winning talk. But there is a culture there. They want you to share that short idea and personal story. So tell the story your way. Use your personality. Don't try to be someone that you're not. It's not about you. It's about the audience. Stick to the clock. If you go over the clock by too much, you will not be invited again, or they will talk about you going over the clock. And if you want a TEDx talk that's on the TED.com website, which I talked about, if you go way beyond 18 minutes, you're definitely going to screw that up. Got that? The rule is 18 minutes. If you choose 18 minutes, do not go over. If you choose 12 minutes and go over 13 and a half, that's okay. But do not go over 18 minutes. And if it's not personal, it's not worthwhile. You have to share personal stories. Understand the content of the event. They want you to share an idea. And use the tools you have. Bill Gates did this thing where he talked about malaria. And he had a jar on stage full of mosquitoes. He said, "These mosquitoes are brought from Africa. They have malaria." And then he let them out, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, what?" He said, "Don't worry, we're good. We have herd immunity. We're fine." And it was like, but he talked about the importance of vaccinating people with malaria in Africa. And so he used that tool. So visual tools go a long way. Now, how to make them want to? Number one, know the culture of TED. We talked about that. Number two, curate the really good idea. Okay, and this one takes more time than you realize. Okay, it doesn't take. It's not. You can't just do this just like that. It takes time. When I curated my 5th idea, I actually did multiple polls and multiple crowdsourcing on Facebook and LinkedIn to get people to give me the right topic, the right title that got people excited, and then I pitched it. Right? Then I put it out there. And so I curated that idea over actually for a couple of years. I had it ready when I pitched it. Curate the connections, right? That's also really important with the TEDx organizers, with people who've done TEDx talks with other people. And number 4 is something a lot of people don't realize. Follow up, be responsive, be accessible, be open and flexible. When the TEDx people respond, send you a message, hey, thanks so much, can you fill in this thing? And you spend like 6 days before you respond to it. Do you think they want to work with you? I don't. I don't want to work with people who respond 6 days later. It's the same with coaching clients. Bobby, send me the information, I'll get back to you, or if they say I'll get back to you in a week and then they ghost me. You know what? If 3 months later they want to work with me, I don't want to work with you. Like, you're not responsive, you don't care. So you have to be someone that follows up, is responsive, and they say, oh, Bobby, can the TEDx talk they did, the 4th one, they said, hey, can you work with our speaker coach? I said, well, I don't need a speaker coach. But they said, no, but we want you to meet with them anyways. I said, fine, no problem. And I did, right? Be open, be flexible. And then we'll get to step 5, which is and then my bonus idea for you. But this is what you need to make them want you, okay? Now, step 5, of course, I already talked about, build a huge thought leadership brand. That comes with, again, building meaningful relationships, clear personal brand, clear target, work on your digital presence with content strategy, storytelling, speaking, mindset, confidence, and everything that Carlos talked about with the iconic CEO model. This is my model. That's his model. Together, we're using these models to help you get to that next level. That's huge. And as my colleague Janelle worked with me said, Bobby's the king of strategy and a helper with clarity, purpose, and direction. That's what it's all about. That's where we start. Once we start with there, if I have the clarity, purpose, and direction, then I can come up with the strategy and then follow up to get to that next level. Number 6 is bonus. Start your own TEDx event. You could do that if you wanted to. The only problem is you can't speak at your own TEDx event, right? But you could the following year. Right, so you could set that up. If there's no TEDx event in your area, or what you could do is if there's no TEDx in your local area, either it's a local area or it could be a suburb. Like I know in Toronto we have this area called the Distillery District. Someone started TEDx Distillery District and it worked, and they had an event. Or it could be a theme like TEDx Women of Toronto, TEDx Youth of Toronto. They did that as well. You could create a committee of like 4 to 5 to 6 people, of which you say, guys, I'm helping organize the event. I'll help promote it, but I want to make sure I get to do my TEDx talk. You can do that too if you want, and make it work. Just some final thoughts. Again, one of the things when it comes to TEDx talks is making people feel listened to, empowered, supported, loved, cared for, heard. It's the same thing with building connections and relationships. And again, everyone needs a coach. It doesn't matter whether you're a basketball player, tennis player, gymnast, or bridge player. A coach provides focus, accountability, leverages their resources, keeps you accountable, and champions you in 10x your results. That's why I work with Carlos as my coach. He's helped 10x my results. I work with other people to 10x their results, and we're going to work with you to 10x your results as an iconic CEO and as a TEDx wannabe. So, final thoughts. And then we'll do Q&A. And I know we're a little bit late on the time, but I will stay on for at least 15 minutes to answer any questions you guys have. Why TEDx? Huge branding opportunity. We know this. Strong marketing material. You want that video. A chance to make the TED.com page. So my 5th TEDx talk finally made the TED.com page. The 4th one I thought was the one, but then I screwed up by using Grover in my animation, and there was like, legal issues with that. But the 5th one finally made the TED.com page. So I'm very happy that it did that. Where to start? Find location. Curate your ideas. Find the best themes. Organizer, determine your target TEDx event and create a nomination plan. Again, you can work with us or you can work on yourself, but I'm telling you, it's way better to work with other people. I'm happy to work with you. The culture of TED, know this: simple, clear, relevant ideas, enjoyable and original. Your story, your way, your message, your audience. If you understand your identity, as Carlos talked about, then we can help you tell the story your way. And again, how to make them want you. Know the culture, create the idea, create the connection, follow up, be responsive, and then build a huge thought leadership brand. So you guys ready to start? Can I get some thumbs up or yeses or hands up or whatever it might be? Okay, good. So the next step is where I'm gonna hand over to Carlos, my colleague, my partner, my coach, an amazing guy, Carlos. Let's talk about next steps. Thanks so much for listening.